Gon' kick it off then. Whoa. Gon' kick it off then. It ain't a game, kick it off then. Whoa. So gon' kick it off then. What we talking about, it goes deep. Something to watch, even from the nosebleeds. The fans been waiting, anticipating for the whole week. Cause we making moves and breaking news, no time for cold feet. Don't confuse, you know the rules and that we play to win. You ain't prepared to take it, then I let the games begin. A man's world, but the ladies gon' be taking it. Not a trophy or an arm piece, unless we talking Lombardi. What's up?
The Patriots blanked on the Jets Monday night. The Bengals and Dolphins are still in the run-ins for the number 1 draft pick. Kyle Allen, will you be the San Francisco treat this Sunday for the 49ers? Earl Thomas with a little piece of revenge, saying it felt good for his Ravens to beat the Seattle Seahawks. And Alshon Jeffrey was the previously anonymous source behind the harsh criticism of Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. Man, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the Eagles locker room for the next couple of weeks off that sip of tea. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into episode number 7 of WTF Too, Women Talk Football 2. I'm Latasha Miles, a.k.a. Joan Madden, the gridiron goddess of SheSP in the network, accompanied by my dope, talented, knowledgeable co-host. Let the folks know who you are.
What's up, good people? I am the one and only Shalika McCrimmon, also known as the Touchdown Tomboy. Man, week 7 is flying by, man. There's so much to talk about this week. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. I'm just ready to kick this party off. Week 7, let's go for what we know, girl. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And week 7, of course, in this area is a big deal in Greensboro, North Carolina. So happy homecoming to the Aggies. A&T taking on Howard this Saturday. So a lot of people coming in town. Hope you guys have a blast. And we're going to kick this thing off here with the first quarter, the Madden cover curse, as it strikes again for the second time this season on Patrick Mahomes. Of course, this injury that he faced in the Thursday night victory over the Broncos will cost a more significant amount of time. Now, TT, the Broncos did prevail without him as your familiar former backup quarterback, Matt Moore. He didn't look bad. But how do you think the Chiefs would do in his absence? They got Green Bay coming to town this Sunday night. And also, we've seen the Madden cover defeat Marshall Faulk, Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, but more recently, Antonio Brown, Gronkowski, and now Mahomes. Now, Brady went scotch-free as far as injuries a few years ago when he was on the cover, but he lost the Super Bowl that year to the Eagles. So to me, the curse was still real. Now, your Panthers haven't had a player on there yet, even though Cam could have easily been during his MVP campaign season a couple years ago. But do you think they should do away with putting players on there? You know, years ago, it was always John Madden. So what are your thoughts, TT?
It looks like, for me, it looks like everybody that they put on in front of that cover, they go up in smoke, and they go up in smoke fast. And I alluded to this a couple of weeks ago because it started with the ankle injury for Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And now it's the whole patella, being dislocated. And no, we don't even know how long he's going to be out for that. They're saying 3 weeks, but it may be longer. Right. But I'm going to just tell you, the list of the people on that Madden cover, from Barry Sanders to Dante Culpepper, to Mike Vick, to Brett Favre, to Troy Polamalu, it's real. It's real. Everybody that I named has been on that Madden cover, and that next season they went up in smoke. So it's kind of even if it's not the actual reason, it sure seems to be that way. So I'm not necessarily sure that I want to be on the cover, and I'm not necessarily sure that anybody else should want to be on that cover. So if you're really trying to keep your career in tow, I don't think you should be on that cover because it can go bad. Really go bad. It is historically gone bad.
Absolutely. I mean, and even off the field issues were Adrian Peterson the year that he went on the cover after he was 8 yards short of breaking Eric Dickerson's record. He had all that child abuse stuff that came up. And so it just seems to weigh heavy. It's a heavy crown to wear and bear. But it does seem like the constant reality of it is that being on that Madden cover is a jinx. And we have receipts. You named a few players. I named a few players. The curse definitely seems real. I honestly, and I know John Madden's not a coach anymore. He doesn't do broadcast in the booth anymore. But I think maybe they should go back to putting John Madden on the cover since it is named after him. Or if they maybe want to do like a player that previously retired to make sure that there's like a safe haven. That there's no possibility of that. Like this year, maybe they should have put Gronkowski on there since he announced he was retired. Because the year he went on there, he got hurt again. So at least maybe this would have protected him because he was retired, and also would have protected the other players. But that curse definitely seems to be like a legendary shadow of like, okay, so it's more like almost like when is he gonna get hurt as opposed to like nah he ain't gonna get hurt. And even again, Brady was safe, but Brady lost the Super Bowl to a team who's never won a Super Bowl before. So to me, that still, it might count as a half, or you want to put asterisk with it. I just feel like, look, y'all need to stay y'all tails off that Madden curse. Thank them, but just graciously decline. Like, nah, I'm good. Find somebody else. I don't know. I think it's real. So moving on to the second quarter, there also seems to be a curse with the referees here, or at least they're getting cursed out. Starting with Clay Matthews, I mean, he didn't curse at them, but you could tell and see the emotions on his social media rant, just discussing how bad the referees have been this year, and it's been blatant. And not just this year. When we could go back to that NFC Championship game with the Saints versus the Rams. Missed calls there where Saints fans still aren't happy. I mean, there's been some Saints fans actually decorating for Halloween with that play and just really, really being very blatantly pointing to where there was the missed call there with that pass interference. Now, to me, I don't feel like you should let the referees decide the game. Like Detroit and Green Bay, there was controversy with a few calls there, but Detroit, you had 4 or 5 trips to the red zone. Why was it even that close? Like, you blew a lot of that. So you should never let the referees decide the game. And back to that New Orleans Saints and Rams game. Why was it even that close? Like, I know the Rams had really, really good defense, but the Saints, you kind of set yourself up because the game was that close. You put the game in the referee's hands by it being that close. So, Clay Matthews got fined for accurately calling him out. But Touchdown Tomboy, what do you think needs to be done to fix this?
I'm not really sure because you can't go back and undo what's already been done. And don't get me wrong, I think that the refs do miss it sometimes, and they look like they've been missing it a lot lately. I can allude to the game a couple games ago where Russell Wilson actually got hit in the shoulder pads, and they actually call it roughing the passer, and it was like nowhere near. And then the Detroit game where was it Fowler that got called for the hands to the face penalty twice, and it was like nowhere near it. So it was just like things like that, and some of those penalties were game deciding penalties. Right. And so I'm not sure necessarily that I think that it could be something that's necessarily fixed, as much as it is that when we're getting down to the nitty gritty, unless it's something just grievous, as they call it, or something so heinous that it can't be missed, or something like that, then the referees should kind of let them play out, because what's tending to happen is we're getting down to the end of these games, and then these refs are calling these huge plays that are like deciding the plays in one way or the other. And to me, that's just blowing the whole game up for me. I don't want it to be decided on the rest term. I want it to play out, and actually get to see these guys ball out and see who wants it more, not it just be given to them. So I'm not necessarily sure that there is a solution, but I do think that the refs do need to, pay closer attention to some of the calls that they make and make sure that these are true and accurate calls to the best of their ability.
And I know they kind of want to, like, the coaches get some challenges, but everything is not reviewable. Everything isn't challengeable. But maybe they do need to implement more of some instant replay. I know the game has gotten faster. They want to abbreviate the game a little bit more. But when it comes down to stuff like this, like you said, deciding factors of the game, perhaps they do need to implement like the instant replay, go back and intently review those plays, because I'm starting to get really, really tired of like the leading story of a lot of these games being missed calls, blown calls, controversial endings, as opposed to the actual game that happens between the 20s. I mean, then they turn around, they've been coming back and apologizing for them, like, oh, we missed that call. Now, y'all need to try to get that right as expeditiously as possible when it's coming down to this. I honestly want more Sarah Thomases in the league. The only female referee in the league, she's been there, I think, maybe 4 years. There's been no controversy surrounding any of her calls. And I know she kind of demoted herself. She caught an injury early in her referee career. And as a result, she kind of demoted herself. I think she stopped being like a field judge, a field referee or something. And kind of went like where it's not as intense, which is good for her. I mean, I get it because, especially with her catching that injury. But I still feel like maybe we should get more female referees out there because, we always right. I'm just saying, like,
Look, I wasn't gonna say we always right, but I was definitely gonna say men, no slight, but women definitely pay attention to the details.
Yeah, we pay a lot.
I think that you might be onto something with that one. We definitely pay attention to the details. Usually, the stuff that other people miss, we catch.
Absolutely.
You might be onto it with that one. I definitely agree.
I mean, or even, and the other thing is, even if we're not right, we're going to find out why we're wrong and go back and fix it, even if we have to bring it back up later. Like, we just not going to let it rest until we get it right. So let's get some more Sarah Thomases in the league, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, more women out there who run the world, girls, like Beyonce said. So let's get some more estrogen out there. And if it's already enough testosterone out there, let's get some more estrogen out there in the field. I mean, we got WTF Too. We got more female fans. They're starting to make more of the jerseys and stuff cut more feminine. A lot of pink with Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So the females are representing. So I'm saying let's keep the trend going. Get some more out there on the field calling these games, and we probably won't have as much controversy. I'm just saying.
And I think you got a good point there.
Appreciate that. Hey, maybe it could be us or something one of these days. Who knows?
Right. I don't know if I can keep up that fast, though, but maybe. Who knows?
It is a fast-paced game. Or maybe even, like, if you could be kind of like the auxiliary. You know how they go back to the referee and like, hey, ref, what'd you see with that game? Or what'd you see with that play? And they kind of analyze it while the other referees are in the booth reviewing. And they kind of tell what they saw. And a lot of times it's usually on the same page. Hey, maybe you could be one of them instead then.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you got to slow it down for me, though. But I can pay attention to the details. I'm definitely a detailed person.
No doubt. That's definitely in our DNA. That's for certain. So, Touchdown Time Boy, go ahead and kick it off here with our halftime presentation.
All right, good people. So I told y'all last week that we talked about offsides last week, and I promise you, good people, y'all wait on it. I am going to cover neutral zone infraction. I promise you I'm going to cover it. But neutral zone infraction is a pretty detailed concept, and I want to make sure that I'm explaining it well enough to understand. And so it's just kind of hard to do on a podcast. And so I'm going to make sure that I can get that because I do think that it is very important. But this week, I'm going to talk about something that happened in the Monday night game that it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. It's getting so now. The Panthers got one earlier in this season. The Patriots got one on Monday night, and that's what we call a safety. A safety, ladies and gentlemen. I think everybody needs to know what a safety is. So a safety is basically a scoring play where you get 2 points for basically tackling a ball carrier, whether it's the quarterback, the running back, or whoever is carrying the ball in their own end zone. So when they're tackled or in their own end zone and they're stopped within their own end zone, that is considered to be a safety, and you get 2 points. Again, that happened when the Panthers played the Buccaneers a couple weeks ago, and it also happened on Monday Night Football when the Patriots played the Jets. And so safeties are important. You do get 2 points for that. And sometimes they can decide a game. Make or break. Those 2 points can decide a game. So safeties are a big part of the game as well. And again, it's when you are the ball carrier, whether it's a quarterback, a running back, or whoever, is tackled in their own end zone. All right?
Thank you for that tip.
That's what I got you for.
Thank you for that tip touchdown, Tom Boy. And also, like, once the safety happens and that team gets the 2 points, if I'm not mistaken, they get the ball back as well, right? Or okay, all right. Just want to confirm that as well. So that's the bonus there with getting the safety. It might not be a lot of points, but hey, getting the ball back as well, being able to run up that scoreboard, that's a bonus with that. Appreciate that tip touchdown, Tom Boy, and that clarification, because I did kind of forget about that. So it's definitely important that you brought me back to that one as well. I definitely appreciate that personally, and hope you guys do as well. So going on to the third quarter here, the trade deadline is coming up in about a week, Tuesday, October the 29th. There's been some speculation, rumors about Cam Newton being traded, even though I doubt it happens this year. And there's quite a few teams, though, on paper who could use a Cam Newton right now. The likes of Denver. The Chicago one is really, really picking up steam with Mitch Trubisky looking abysmal so far this season. And actually, he's been looking pretty bad these past 2.5 seasons. He got saved last year, though, because Chicago had so many issues with their kicker. And then also maybe even Tennessee. Now, I think the Sunday's game with Kyle Allen against San Francisco, this is truly his toughest test of the season so far, going to San Francisco, playing an undefeated team, coming off of a bye week after having that 4-game winning streak. I don't know if that might mess up the momentum. And then with their defense being as stout as it is. But then we also have the big splash of the Marcus Peters trade to Baltimore from the Rams. Jalen Ramsey to the Rams from Jacksonville. And they got some huge picks in return. So touchdown, Tomboy. Do you see any other moves before the deadline next week? Do you think Cam will get traded by then? And who won that Peters and Ramsey trade? The Rams, the Ravens, or the Jags?
I will say that I'm going to say that for all intents and purposes, although I think that Jalen Ramsey was a good trade, I think that Baltimore got the better deal. And the only reason why I say that is because Baltimore is in a better position to me go further, and they just needed some pieces on the defensive end of the ball in order to bring it all together. And so, if you notice on Sunday they played against the Seahawks and they played fairly well. Mm-hmm. And so I think that in the long-term scheme of things, I think that the Baltimore, the Ravens actually may have gotten a better deal, because I'm just not sure that even with the trade with Jalen Ramsey, with Akeem Talib being out, to the Rams is really going to salvage their season, especially the inconsistencies of Jared Goff this year.
Right.
But I think the person that could use them the most at this time, who is actually looking more like they're a playoff contender, would be the Ravens. And so I think that the Ravens may benefit more from that deal.
Gotcha. I actually think that the Jags won this one, because I felt like just long term, the Rams sacrificed their soul, their NFC championship. They gave up so much just for Jalen Ramsey, a damaged Jalen Ramsey at that. A still young Jalen Ramsey, but you never know when he's going to pop off. You never know when he's going to show off in the media and be a distraction and, and be detrimental to the locker room. He's also been hurt. I mean, he was very strategic in using up all his PTO before he got traded, because he had some extra paid time off there. I mean, I was looking at this dude like, with these, what kind of benefits he got to where, he's just able to just be off like this. And it was a couple of times of, he coming back this week and then boom, he wasn't. And then he had stuff going on with the family. I think he maybe had a baby being born there. Just a lot. Like, it was just so much emotional baggage that came with this time off that he had. And so, and the fact that I still think that's there, it just went out west. So you just never know what's going to come with Jalen Ramsey. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of unpredictability coming with him. And hey, if the Rams keep losing, remember he made a very emotional speech of saying, like, look, I just want to freaking win with like some F-bombs and stuff. So we've seen the Rams have a losing streak this season where they've lost some games. Who's not to say that doesn't happen again? Because there's been a lot of changes on the Rams personnel from the NFC Championship run. And it looks like people have gotten the coach figured out. Looks like people have gotten McVay figured out. So I don't know. And then San Francisco's kind of running away with the division right now. So we don't know if the Rams will have repeat success. So I'm not really. I think the Rams lost this trade. I agree with a lot of what you said with Baltimore, even though I feel like Baltimore really didn't necessarily need him because there's no more Antonio Brown in that division. Ben Roethlisberger's out for the season. Cleveland hasn't really fulfilled anything. AJ Green could get traded before the 29th. He's unhappy. He's been injured. So I don't feel like there was a lot of an aerial attack from the AFC North for Baltimore to need it. The depth is there for sure because Baltimore's running away with the division right now. They got some tough games coming up, but still, I just don't feel like it was all that necessary for Baltimore to have to do. I just don't see it was like really a necessary move for Baltimore to really have to do that. Do you think there's any other big names that might get traded, such as like an AJ Green coming up within the next week, or I think the Cam stuff might kind of go stagnant before next week. But are there any other names?
People are talking about Emmanuel Sanders and AJ Green, and I'm not sure. Those are the two biggest names that I've heard in the rumor mill: Emmanuel Sanders and AJ Green, of course. But AJ Green has been hurt, so I think the most viable option is Emmanuel Sanders. And the question is where will he land? Rumor has had it that he may get traded to the Carolina Panthers, but the question becomes is I'm not sure if that's a good trade considering right now that they're working in the backup. They don't know their quarterback position is really not settled in yet. We don't know what Cal Allen is going to do going forward. So I'm not sure that that's a good option. But I do think that if anything, if Carolina is looking to trade anything, that they need to be securing some more offensive linemen because they've been struggling in keeping offensive linemen healthy. So, I think in terms of that, I'm not sure where Emmanuel Sanders will end up, and I'm definitely not sure where AJ Green will end up if he, and he's been injured, so, where could he possibly land? Now, I do think in terms of what people are talking about in terms of the Cam Newton trade, I would be surprised if they did that. And the reason why I would be surprised if they did that is because, let's just be honest, typically the backups, they come out striking the first year, and then the next year they don't do as good.
Right.
And so, you got to think about that going forward. And I think that the Panther organization is trying to look what we can do long term, not just for this season. So if anything, I think and what they're potentially looking to do is do we let Cam? I think that we will see Cam eventually this season, but I think if we see him, it'll be toward it when they make the playoffs, because I do believe that they will make the playoffs, and I think that's when we'll see Cam, when he's more formidable, he's much more healthy. I do not think it would be a wise decision considering all the people that would be in the trade market for him, that the Carolina Panthers would let him go based upon a rookie that you're not sure about yet. I don't think that's a smart business move, and I don't think David Tepper or Ron Rivera would make that decision. And if they did, I would be definitely surprised.
Right, I think you're onto something there. Just like how the NFL has figured out Sean McVay, they could easily figure out like a Kyle Allen, Mitch Trubisky. Like they could easily figure them out sooner than anticipated. So yeah, I think that you're onto something there. I don't see Cam. I know he's got a contract year coming up next year. Maybe they might try to do something next year, but I really don't think that they would do anything as rapidly right now, because the other thing is like you said, Cam Newton could very well come back. Like he's not out for the season, or like I don't think that Cam Newton is completely over the hill or like past his prime, as people are saying. I just think that this is a guy who's so used to winning, and this is new territory for him, and all the criticism and stuff, he's not taking it as well as maybe he should, or people feel like he should. Then they just had another baby like last week too. So I'm not ruling Cam Newton out, and I really don't see that he gets traded.
I will say this: Cam Newton is a competitor, and I think if anything, what I'm noticing is that I think that this will drive him to do even more than he's currently doing, because Cam is a competitor, and I don't care what anybody says, because Cam Newton likes to be the center of attention. I do believe he'll step up, and I think the next time that we see him, we'll be thoroughly surprised at what he does.
I hope so. I think so too, and I hope so. And like the video resurfaced of Cam Newton being like really, really fun at a Hornets game like 3 years ago, the year that he won MVP, and he was doing like all the dabbing and stuff. The fun Cam Newton, the personality Cam Newton. I'm really looking forward to that Cam Newton coming back, and I'm about like you. I think we will see that one reemerge sooner than later. Absolutely. So going on to the fourth quarter here, as we always start previewing the upcoming week. So here we are about halfway through the season. Week 8 coming up. Touchdown time. Are there any big games you're looking at on the slate? Anything you're looking forward to? Any upsets or surprises coming our way for week 8?
I do. There are a couple of games that I think are big games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the 49ers and the Panthers is a huge game because I think that game will probably start to settle some of the controversy in Carolina. I think that that game will decide, is Kyle Allen a starting quarterback or is he really just a backup? And so I'm interested in seeing what that game is going to look like. I'm also interested in seeing the Eagles and the Bills. I know that the Eagles have just floundered a lot of opportunities lately and all of the controversies surrounding Ashlon Jeffries. But I mean, again, you got to think about the situation they're putting Carson Wentz in. They don't have a lot of people. They have a lot of injuries. But the beautiful thing and the interesting thing about the Eagles that's always so fun to watch is that they're always hurt. If you notice, they have a trend that they're always hurt at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year, everybody's healthy and they make this crazy playoff run. That always happens. I don't know how it happens, but it does. So I'm definitely interested in seeing the Eagles and the Bills this week. I want to see what the Chiefs are going to look like playing against the Packers without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's a big game on my radar this week. And, of course, there's one other game that I think, depending on which Browns show up, we might have one. The Patriots and the Browns play this week. And I think depending upon which one show up now, because the Browns can be contenders when they want to be. So it's just a matter of which Brown is going to show up. Are the Browns that have just been bad, or the Browns that come back from the bye week actually show up this week and they play like they played in the week 2 against the Ravens? Maybe that Browns team will show up, and then we might have a real game against the Patriots.
I hope so. This is actually like a really, really good game for the Browns to kind of get up and leave and actually like live up to the hype that they received so much through the off season. So yeah, this is actually like a great game to do so. And even though this is a division rival for me, and like their record is really, really close to my Steelers, I am rooting for Cleveland. What's interesting also is that Cleveland has to go to New England, and they've got a few road wins, so they're battle tested on the road. New England, of course, also has a shorter week. I mean, they just played Monday night. They put up 30-something points against a Jets team who looked very, very just discombobulated. So I don't know. Cleveland really, really has a shot here, but Baker Mayfield has to be a lot more accountable and make a lot less mistakes and stop talking so much trash, and kind of, now's the point of you got to let your talent and action speak instead of your mouth. So,
Right.
and this is the great test to do it, to kind of tilt that seesaw back in your favor. So I'm about like you. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. Green Bay at Kansas City, like you said, here's a Matt Moore start. Kansas City had lost 2 home games, and this is another home game for them as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do Sunday night prime time, back under the big lights again. I'm looking at the Carolina-San Francisco game just like you. Philly has a 5-1, a quiet 5-1 Buffalo team who easily could be undefeated had Allen not got hurt when they played New England. So that's interesting as well. Seattle is at Atlanta. Matt Ryan with a sprained ankle, not completely ruled out yet, but maybe he should be. Maybe they need to make a change at quarterback for the moment. Hey, I would even love, if Cam Newton did ever get traded or go to a team, I would love to see Cam Newton play for Atlanta if that ever happened. I don't want him to leave the Panthers, but I would like to see him at home. It would be great, like just, if not saying that I want Matt Ryan hurt, but I do think maybe Atlanta needs to start perhaps looking at a quarterback change. How do you have Julio Jones And, all you got to do is just put the ball in the air. And Julio Jones ain't really got those numbers this year. And I blame Matt Ryan. So I'm interested in seeing who's going to be the quarterback for Atlanta. Plus, Seattle just coming off a huge double-digit loss on the road at home. Seattle's going to Atlanta, where they're also probably playing a lot of future music and being very petty like they usually do. So it's going to be, I wonder how Russell Wilson's going to react to that again, because he has lost in Atlanta under those conditions. Again, not knowing what's going to happen with Matt Ryan. And I'm actually very concerned. My Steelers are coming off of a bye week. They're playing a desperate winless Miami team. I don't completely trust it because I'm a realist. Now, I'm like, this is not me hoping that we lose or nothing like that, but we're coming off of where we had the momentum, where we had just beat a Chargers team, and I think we might even get Mason Rudolph back as well. I honestly kind of liked the way our offense was playing in the Chargers game without Mason Rudolph. I'm going to keep it real, but there's a possibility Mason Rudolph might be under center again that Monday night game. It's in prime time, and again, this is a Miami team who's very desperate. They don't want to be like Cincinnati and be the remaining winless team in the league. So I'm gonna keep it real. I'm very concerned about this one. This could be a trap game for us, and we might overlook them. Again, coming off that bye, interrupting the momentum. I'm not completely sold on it, or it might be a close game.
What's interesting about that is like, let's just be honest. Fitzmagic, he can make people do some interesting stuff, so you might be right. You might just be right about that game, because he can tend to give you a spark when you don't have one. And so, there may be a trap game. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, too.
Definitely. And some sideline notes as we're about to conclude Week 7 episode. The Jets, with that loss on Monday night, they're now 1-9 in their last 10 division games. That is just pathetic. My goodness, the World Series is on deck. A little baseball terminology there. World Series on deck this week. Astros versus the Nationals. Touchdown Tomboy, do you have a favorite, or are you rooting for anyone, paying attention, don't care?
Well, I'm not a big baseball fan.
Gotcha.
So I can't really tell you. I do look at the minor league, like the Durham Bulls and stuff like that, but not the big baseball games. Maybe a couple of Atlanta Braves games, but that's it. But no major baseball for me. I'm not a big baseball person.
Gotcha. Fair enough. I'm rooting for the Astros to get back to another World Series. They just won a couple of years ago, strictly because of my girl Katrina De Los Santos down there in Texas, and Beyonce's from Houston. So that's another reason why I'm going for them. But it would be dope to see the Nationals win this World Series with all the, like, Bryce Harper's no longer there. And it's kind of like, so is this what it took to kind of get rid of that guy? The Eagles have released cornerback Orlando Scandrick as well, which is very, very interesting. Steelers, Anthony Chiquilo, my boy, he's facing 3 charges after being arrested with some domestic disturbance disputes. So I don't know if that could be a distraction for us as well. Going into that Monday night game, again, the stars are kind of aligning for Miami, so I ain't ruling them out, or it might be a close game. I'm not above Miami, a winless team, beating us. I mean, shoot, Dallas lost to a winless team in the Jets last week. So I'm no fool here. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how things play out during the week. Touchdown Time Boy, anything else you want to add with this episode?
I do not, man. Like, it has been real. I have had so much fun tonight. Man, I can't wait till Week 8 is on deck, and we get to talk about what's happening across the football world in a couple of weeks, man. Next week, man. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And don't look for games from Dallas or Baltimore this week. There will not be 16 games. There will be 15, as both of those guys are on bye. Dallas, of course, winning going into the bye week. Baltimore also winning going into the bye week. So that was a great way to kind of lead into them not having a game this week. Nobody wants to lose, period, but you definitely want to lose going into a bye week. Looks like Jason Garrett's job is secure for at least 2 more weeks since he has the bye. And yeah, Baltimore looking very, very dangerous, not only in the AFC North, but in the AFC. They're kind of low key, like nobody's really talking about them. They're flying under the radar. Them and the Bills. That was a huge win that they had in Seattle. I can't believe I got to talk about Baltimore like this, but My goodness, it is what it is. There's receipts. Got to keep it real. Baltimore's looking very, very good. They got some tough games coming up as well, including New England. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no Dallas, no Baltimore this week if you guys are looking for them. And so, yeah, so that's going to conclude this episode, week 7 of WTF 2, Women Talk Football 2. Again, a happy homecoming to the Aggies. Everyone be safe, be careful to those in town. Have a blast this weekend coming up. So, yeah, shout outs again to the Aggies as well with their homecoming being this week. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all social media. Subscribe to the SheSP and the Network YouTube channel, WTF2. We got merchandise. We got more episodes coming up. We appreciate you guys. We're really, really working on something here. Don't want to say anything to jinx it, but we are really, really doing this with an intent purpose. So be on the lookout. We greatly appreciate you guys' support, constructive criticism. Thank you guys for joining in, tuning in, chiming in on the different posts. You guys were very, very active on the Marcus Peters trade. So like shout outs to people like Joseph Howard up in Jersey. He's all the way up in Jersey. So yeah, we appreciate that. You guys being very, very active and tuning in with the shares, the likes, and things of that nature. So we appreciate y'all. All right, this is going to do it for this episode of WTF2, Women Talk Football 2 with Shalika McCrimmon, the Touchdown Tomboy, and Latasha Miles, a.k.a. Joe Man, the Gridiron Goddess of SheSP Network. We appreciate you guys. Have a safe and wonderful week. Thank you so much.